friends, welcome to the conversation. This week we will be talking about philanthropy. But before we even get into that, I want to give a warm welcome to all of our friends here. All right, philanthropy can be defined as the desire to promote the welfare of others expressed especially by the generous donations of money to the good causes. Millennials, however, has taken the next step up. We have been able to not only donate money, but donate our time, our vision, and our creativity. And with all that being said, I pose the question to you ladies and gentlemen. How do we encourage and promote the culture of giving amongst Black millennials and the Generation Z coming up?
So I think basically just showing them how to do it, more so being in the community, hosting events, giving back, having them come out and donate their time and donate, other things more so than money. Because what they need to see us doing is us in the community and reaching back. And once they see us reaching back, then they'll reach back as well.
I totally agree with that, kind of leading by example, and giving when we can or supporting however we can. And also everyone has a network, and so taking advantage of that, as well as this social media platform that has just opened up so many doors for us to, advertise what we have going on, share what other folks have going on, and take advantage of all of that.
I think a big piece is learning that you can give your time. I think a lot of people think of philanthropy as being a monetary thing, and just knowing that you can give your time, like showing up and helping to feed others, or also to just be present and share your time with older people or anything like that, or people in need that may learn something from you. I think that is something that millennials need to know, that is also an option when it comes to philanthropy.
Yeah, because there's a lot of different ways that you could get into that. It's not just about going to soup kitchens or different stuff like that. You could have a concert that's relief, or like a conversation like this. Yeah, different creative ways. So it's about being involved in just what way works best for you. I guess is a good place to start, and just networking. And like my brother over here, he has a clothing line where he does different events and stuff like that, where proceeds and different stuff can go. So just thinking out of the box and not thinking of old school methods and just trying new things, I would say millennials should start with.
Yeah, I think action just inspires action, and that's another thing where I'm inspired by this guy. Just seeing him put in the work inspires me, or I think it inspires others to get involved and do things like that.
Yeah. You was gonna say something?
Yeah, I think also if you reframe how doing philanthropy makes you feel. Like for some people, if you feel it's an obligation, they're less likely to do it. But actually, a lot of the times, once you do it, the experience itself is rewarding. So that's another way to get into it.
I also think a good method for helping Gen Zs be more motivated with doing charity work is putting the why behind it, kind of demonstrating how the charity events impact communities and impact them, like giving them examples of what happened in the past to show, okay, well, if this hadn't happened, if someone hadn't donated their time, you probably wouldn't be here.
So checking the impact to see how it affects their personal lives.
Yes.
Yeah. So despite the racial wealth gap between Black philanthropy, it still remains strong. And according to the Urban Institute study, high net worth Black families are reportedly likely to have family traditions around giving than their white counterparts. Do you feel like it's a racial thing that we're naturally prone to give back more, or do you feel like it's just an overall, just something that is within you?
I think it's a racial thing.
You think it's a racial thing?
Yeah, because white people are privileged. You know what I'm saying? So they don't really need much. And the Black communities, that's where, we need the most. So that's why I often give back.
That's a good point. I never thought about privilege being a factor into it.
Well, if you put it that way, I think that in the Black communities, we don't support each other as a whole in itself. So when we do find the time and the people that want to give back, then we put it out there that, we can come together. This is more than giving back. This is fellowship and helping each other and supporting one another. And it's each one teach one. In that aspect, yes.
Yeah. So based on the data from the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finance, the typical black family has only 10 cents for every dollar held by the typical white family. So how do we create a setup for our future to benefit from the climate that we're living in, being though it's just enough to survive?
I think a lot of the times within like what I found amongst like black families, or not just black, but like across different like racial or ethnic groups, so that families aren't transparent about their finances. So a lot of the times like generations make the same mistakes their parents did because you were either like taught bad habits or you just didn't really talk about money really. So I feel like, especially I know with me and my siblings, like we're trying to like change that with our parents. Like we're just like, look, let's actually like be transparent about what's happening, you know? Like, sorry, like how do you get to the position you're in, you know, so we can either do the same or like do even better. So I know I'm trying to like set it up so that like the generation after me, there's like no debt, like you're not left having to kind of compensate or like take care of your parents sometimes. So I felt that's how it starts. It's hard to have like generational wealth if you keep having to take care of your parents, you know, your parents taking care of their parents, like
You're just inheriting debt.
Yeah.
After generation after generation.
So it's like changing those habits and just like really, like I know some of my like counterparts or like my white peers, like they started learning about stocks at a young age because that's what their parents were doing. Like it was just kind of like what they talked about over dinner. I wasn't talking about that at my dinner table. So.
At all.
You're talking about just hustling and surviving, or what the light bill was paid, or anything like that, and we weren't branching out and thinking about stocks and bonds and investments. I mean, I think what's a common conversation amongst black families is owning land, but I think we do need to get beyond that. And what else can we own? And even entrepreneurship, talking more about that instead of putting stake into other people's businesses and getting that good government check all the time. Like, where are we going to talk about, even if it's a side business, like just increasing wealth through those avenues?
I definitely agree. Even now when you think about credit, like I know the conversations in my household was, as far as credit goes, is don't get a credit card. You know, it's bad. But what else? Like, you know, like how can I build that? Like tell me about the difference between a secured credit card and then a regular credit card. Like, do you have a financial plan? Does any of you have financial plans?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You do? You do?
Absolutely. And my daughter is 11, and I teach her that. She knew about stocks and bonds when she was young because that's what I was doing, and I always bring her a part of everything that I do. I almost try to bring her here, you know. And because when my mom and other adults in the family talked about things, they would tell us to go in the room.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Go in the room so they can talk about adult conversations. But when I got to become an adult, it was like, what do I do? And you know, sometimes their answer was, you know, I got mine, you got to get yours. But we have to get beyond that. You have to show me and map out what happened and how you got through those things, because little did they know I was going to go through the same thing. And now what I'm trying to do with my child and my future children is I will break the generational curses of, you know, crabs in a barrel, bad credit, all those sorts of things. And I'm showing her so she can show her children and their children's children how to live and not only survive. Because when I was growing up, we learned how to survive throughout the month. Like when my mom would pay bills, the first thing she would say, all right, y'all, we got somewhere to live for another 30 days. And then I had to just recently get out of the habit of saying, okay, we got somewhere to live for the next 30 days. I'm thinking beyond that.
And I think that's important if we start the education young. I know my parents tried to do what they could, teaching me about credit cards and things like that, but there's a lot more that we need to learn, and it would be nice if this was integrated into our school teachings.
That actually going into my next topic. So then whose responsibility is it to teach the youth? Is it our parents? If our parents are uneducated about that, how can they possibly teach us that instead of teaching just the negative part? Would it be the community?
No, it's yours, right? So in all of our pockets, we have all the knowledge in the universe to access. But we use it to go and look at videos. Or boobs on the table. But that's what we look at. And so the first conversation, if we want to leave something behind, we're talking about legacy. The first thing you have to figure out is, I need to get a handle on debt. And if you look at anyone that is, I'm just going to say, winning with money, they manage debt. A lot of you guys talked about credit. Credit does not build wealth. Credit does not build legacy. So we have to get away from, I want a 800 plus credit score. It's great, right? It's good to have. But that just means I play kissy face with debt. That just means I have money and I'm going, and it's going out every month and it's doing something else, right? The one thing that we learned, that we all learned in school, was compound interest, and we just glossed over it. But if you want to leave a legacy, money over time leaves a legacy. And that's what the kids see. That's the first part. The second part is you have to delay your gratification, right? Everybody, you know what? We want the things. We want, right? Yeah. We want all the things. I don't care what the thing is. We want it.
Be on the gram,
and so for people that sell those things, we have access to get those things. Now, we may not be able to afford them, but hey, that's okay. I will buy this car and I will take 8 years to pay it off. And that's a depreciating asset.
As soon as you drive it off the lot.
As soon as you drive it off the lot. And so now the education has to be, all right, you know what? It would be great if you bought a brand new car, but here is another car that is 40% less.
Pay it off ahead of time.
And you pay, or you can cut a check for the car.
Right.
Then and there.
Have more
Just
money
be
in your
straight. Or you
pocket.
know what? Or something else did, the lady on the end of the table kind of touched on it. This is what we're going to do now. 3 years from now, we may be in a different position. And then you start to stack those skills. And then you look out 7, 8, 9, 10, 15 years later, and you don't have debt. You have money saved. You start to invest. And you start to do these ground fundamental actions in order to build a legacy, and then that's just normal for them, right? You have to play the long game. So you start early, you manage that, the rest takes care of itself.
That's dope, but how do you get the kids to see that? It's an ego thing.
You have to do it. You have to do it.
It's an ego thing now.
Yeah, you have to do it.
You seen your friend driving a Benz, Lex. You like, dang, I want that too.
Right. So
That
You saying
comes
how you
from
make it relatable?
right. So there's
To
going
them,
to be
so that they know
The long game.
calm it down.
I think that comes in the home. That comes in the home. Like my daughter's in middle school and she has entered into a new world. So it's certain things that she's coming home asking me about. Like, Mommy, can I get Balenciagas for Christmas? Mom, can I get the new iPhone 11? It's certain things, and I'll be like, sure. As soon as you get a job, you take care of your finances and you save 40% of your check. She said
My
that's
dad
gonna be
used
a
to do
long.
that.
Yep, and I was
You
taught
got
that
some iPhone
too.
money?
Okay, so it's. I think certain things start in the home because my mom liked nice things and so did I, and so we went out and worked for everything that we have. But then I noticed that I didn't have money after my check. When I got paid on Friday, my check was gone 9 times out of 10 by Sunday morning. Sunday morning. I was paying bills, but I was going out to have fun too. And I learned about finances the hard way. And that's something that I don't want my daughter to do. So I'm teaching her about investing and savings now. So I think it starts in the home because you're not going to get a lot of, you shouldn't do that, outside with your friends and your peers. You're not going to get that because every man for itself.
Yeah, I think it's finding the balance of telling them the negative impacts that could occur and also telling them the positive things that could come out of it. So what more could you get? You could, I can buy these fancy shoes now, but I could buy a lot more later.
Yeah.
I used to do that with Eric. Like, you want these Payless little shoes or you want these Jordans? Which one do you want to do? You can get ice cream after with this Payless shoe. But you're not going to be able to get that with the Jordans.
And with the school thing, I would like it to be integrated in school so I can feel better about that debt that
But
I'm
we
in
had
because of school.
Remember facts
No,
in
it's
economics?
it's there.
We know that.
It's there,
but it's
there
not
and it's available.
taught.
It's there and it's available. It just
But it's textbook
But
style
the
taught.
SATs isn't generated on credit and debt management and different stuff like
Right,
that.
it's not talked about that way.
Yeah.
It's fundamental shit.
I
at
mean,
least.
were they in facts or whatever? I don't remember that class, and we all three went to the same high school.
middle school.
Did they teach you how to balance a check?
Yes.
They did that?
They teach you how to balance a check, but they don't teach you the importance of savings. They don't teach you the consequences of going to school and racking up student loan debt.
Yeah.
You think you're getting a refund check and that's gonna look nice.
Yeah. Oh,
My refund checks was really nice.
Or when you first came, and you know the first week, they got all these nice tables out there saying, I'll give you $50 if you sign up for this credit card. And I went to every table when I was in college.
They don't teach you about those consequences, and I learned a lot from YouTube University. They have a lot of folks out there promoting different ways to, help better your finances and things like that. But it would be nice if something like that was integrated in school and talked about in that way. I definitely understand that information is there in some aspects, but the way it's communicated, it doesn't resonate with folks.
Yeah, to me, it's like physical health and mental health. It's like it should be a constant throughout your education in public school or private school, whatever. Just like K through 12, it should just something you constantly getting brushed up on and learning the fundamentals about. But
I also want to touch back on something that that Tierra said about building generational wealth, like as far as buying black and buying back into our community. I know you guys have seen all the headlines from Gucci, from Prada, from H&M with the unkept hair and the monkeys on the t-shirts. Do you guys think that if we bought more black in our community, that we would actually be able to obtain generational wealth? Like if we're spending all of our money within ourselves like the Jews do?
Absolutely. Because without our money, this country would fade. This country would die down. So they need our money.
But she's saying buy within ourselves, so it's just trading our own money.
What are we buying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we
So
only
it
buy, if
depends.
black people only buy in the black community, we would just be trading our own money around.
Exactly.
And it doesn't increase our generational wealth. I think it already took however many years for white people to build or to build their wealth, and it's going to take us a long time to get there as a community. But I think kind of what we talked about earlier, if we take these initial steps, we can start to build.
So it's like a cycle, you're saying. It's just recycling the money, going back in the
Also,
did
the
it with
Jews
the-
had, reparations of a sort,
Yeah.
unlike
True.
us.
Yeah,
So
they
they
did.
had a little seed money to start some of their own businesses and stuff like that. I think, there was that show that, what's his name did, Killer Mike.